All right, we're live here. My name is Jamie J, and this is Live with Bottleneck, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business and your life, hopefully. I'm the CEO founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, brand new category. Super excited about that. Thanks to Christopher Lochhead, one of the authors of Play Bigger, one of my favorite books in the whole wide world that kind of changed my life. Just want to say thank you for that. Today, we're going to be talking with Mark Monchek. I've talked with him twice before on a podcast, never on the live stream. So I'm super excited to talk with him today. We're going to be talking about how he helps businesses thrive through the disruption. It's noisy out there, right? So bear with us. We will go ahead and hop into this. And Dave Sanderson, am I in the right place for Jamie J and Mark? Yes, you are. Dave Sanderson, just to let you know, if you don't know Dave Sanderson, he used to be head of security for Tony Robbins, and he was the last passenger to leave the aircraft. Did anybody seen Captain Sully when the Miracle on the Hudson, when they landed on the Hudson? Dave Sanderson was a passenger on that plane, and what an incredible person he is. So thanks for joining us, Dave. This is amazing. So we'll go ahead and hop into this. Let me get everything cranking here, and we'll be back in approximately 43 seconds. You'll meet Mark Monchek. Welcome to Live with Bottleneck, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business. My name is Jamie J, CEO and founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance. Super pumped for my conversation today on this episode of Live with Bottleneck. I'm going to be talking with Mark Monchek, and we're going to be talking about helping businesses thrive through disruption. Mark is the founder and chief opportunity officer of Opportunity Lab. He's a smart cookie, lots of experience, so you're going to really enjoy this. And why can Mark help you stop the bottleneck in your business? Well, as I said, he's the founder and COO of Opportunity Lab, a strategy consulting firm focused on helping businesses thrive through disruption. He's the author of the Amazon nonfiction bestseller, Culture of Opportunity, How to Grow Your Business in an Age of Disruption. And Mark has worked with leaders from Google, Apple, JPMorgan Chase, General Electric, Goldman Sachs, Adorama, TerraCycle, Feltsberg, the New York Times, Wharton School of Business, New York University, Columbia University, NBC, Time Warner, and the United Nations, just to name a few. He's been featured in Real Leaders, The Better Business Book, the Organization Development Review Journal, Lifetime Network, WPLJ, WCBS, Newsday, Working Women Magazine, and the San Francisco Chronicle. Mark has a passion for empowering conscious leaders to build great companies that make a difference in the world. Through his strategy, he discovers and develops opportunities that meet profitability with sustainable growth, creating organizations that are more conscious, making life better for their customers, employees, and communities. So without any further ado, please welcome a good friend of mine I haven't talked to in a while, but super excited to have him on, Mr. Mark Monchek. How are you, sir?
Jamie, I'm very inspired and very honored to be here. As I was mentioning to you before we came on, in preparation for this show, rather than listening to some of your other more recent shows, which I have in the past, I decided to listen to you as a guest on Christopher Lockwood's Follow Your Different that you just mentioned, and I think a Hindsight podcast, I don't remember the exact name, and I didn't realize that you had been homeless twice, and particularly after actually serving in our military. So the reason I wanted to focus on that, Jamie, is that in order for companies to thrive through disruption, we have to shift our consciousness. And so what I learned from your experience is that you took something that looked to be the most tragic situation. Many people would feel like they're a victim in this situation. You decided, what is the opportunity here? How can I shift my situation by shifting how I'm looking at that situation.
Mm.
So I am talking with our leaders, our clients, the audiences out there about a shift in consciousness, because that's where we are today. I think the pandemic is really a symptom of things that have not been working in the world and have not been working in this particular version of capitalism. So I am an entrepreneur. I believe in our American system of helping people go from wherever you were and then to where you are now with that success, but doing it in a way that actually cares, truly cares about customers, associates, and the communities that we do business in. So the shift in consciousness is from scarcity to abundance, from I to we, from profit to profit with purpose. And so that's how, we have helped companies thrive through disruption with COVID. So if you're interested, I can give you a couple of examples, very specific examples of how we did it, which I think may be
Absolutely.
relevant to your audience.
Absolutely. Yes, please.
So on March 11th, 2020, we were planning to do a 5-year strategy offsite for one of our clients based in New York, a national, very well recognized retailer of consumer electronics. Company I will mention, Adorama, one of the companies that I admire tremendously. So our CEO called me, our advisor to the company, and said, we've got to postpone this offsite, but postpone it. We're not going to cancel it. So in that moment, we worked with their senior leadership team to shift 80% of their employees to go remote, which they had never done before, and to keep people in their distribution centers and in their retail stores safe. So the shift in consciousness was really to say, employees can work when they want, how they want, where they want, as long as they support the values of the company, they deliver the results to the customer, and they do things based on what's expected of them. And I think if you go back to the research, Jamie, that happened in the second quarter of 2020, 70% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies said their companies would significantly suffer when working remotely. And you know what? They were wrong. Their consciousness was wrong, because when you treat employees well, as I know that your company is very, very much attending to, they will actually do their best. So what we found at Adorama and some of our other clients, their employees actually rose to a higher level because they had more flexibility, more empowerment, and they actually felt more cared about because we did something very special for them.
Yeah. Yes, and thank you so much for bringing up that point. There's silver linings in everything. I personally believe, and as tragic as that pandemic was, especially in the beginning, and mind you, the first 2 months of 2020, I was in a hospital where my mom passed away March 1st, and then coming on to this pandemic and seeing utter chaos go. Fortunately, I think I had a little bit of a leg up. As you mentioned, Christopher Lochhead earlier, he said, Jamie, you've been social distancing before social distancing was a thing. So I had already been remote, and I could already see and understand how productive we could be, albeit remotely, and how we can still manage to build that culture. And I think it's really important to look at the positive side of things and see how you can still affect opportunity through all the noise that's out there, and not listen to the negativity so much. And I might say one more thing before I ask you my next question, Mark, is that I spent 12 years in corporate America. And it took me 11 years to figure out how to get out, but I spent 12 years in corporate America. And it's not that I dislike corporate America. For those people that are thriving in it, good for you. I mean, hats off, way to go. For me, it just wasn't a fit. And I needed to make that change for me in order for me to be able to thrive. But so many people got scared from this pandemic on what was going to happen to them. And they, quite frankly, weren't prepared for it. So my question to you is, opportunity creeps in different places, but how do you prepare to maybe more specifically be maybe even recession proof, but culture proof? How do you prepare for something like this or prepare for opportunity?
Great question, Jamie. And I will give you my best and shortest answer, because this answer could take many, many hours, many days, many weeks, many lifetimes. So I think the first thing is to understand that we are not alone in this big universe. We are one being in a very interdependent, interconnected web of life. Our individual families, our extended families, our communities, the larger world. So people who feel that they have to make it on their own, do it on their own, of course they're going to feel terrified, because we can't do something, a big shift on our own. We can only do it in collaboration with the people that we are interdependent on, right? And our culture has denied the fact that we are interdependent. I
Mm.
think COVID, among many other things, proved, at least to me, and I think a lot of people, that we're dependent on our healthcare professionals, we're dependent on people to deliver food to our home, we're dependent on people who we work with to be able to work together and figure it out together when there isn't an exact answer in a playbook like there was not in March of 2020. So the first thing is realize you're not operating alone, that there are people who you can depend on and who depend on you, and look for the collective wisdom to find the answer to something that has never actually happened before.
Thank you for answering the question. That's perfect. I was watching some of your YouTube videos, and one of your, by the way, if you guys get a chance, go to oplabtv.com, subscribe. I'll put it right here, oplabtv.com on YouTube, or oplab TV on YouTube. And you had one that talked about, I think it was your company's greatest asset. And that really resonated with me because culture's thrown around pretty loosely these days, and there's a lot of buzzwords. And when you start doing that, you kind of get lost in the world of noise. But can you maybe elaborate on what the our company's greatest asset is, and tell us that story? I really, really love this.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. So you hear this a gazillion times. Our company's greatest asset is our people. Right. So true, of course. But what is it about our people that we need the most now? It's their attention. Right. So the average attention span of a human being is 8.5 seconds, which is a half a second less than a goldfish. The average website gets surfed for 15 seconds. The average person checks their email 300 times a day, their phone 1,500 times per week. So we're in a constant state of distraction. So what we do with our clients, right, and we operate in three areas: strategy, leadership, and culture, which are all connected. We go in and we help the leaders of the company define what is your focus. What is it that you are most needing to deliver to your customers, your associates, and the stakeholders that you do business with? And that could be in the shape of a 5-year strategic plan. It could be in the shape of a shorter 1-year action plan. It could be in the shape of solving a particular problem. But we help our clients in our strategy process create a focus and help them deal with the distraction by getting, what are we focused on now? Right. So that's one. Secondly, we teach our leaders how to get the attention of their customers and their associates and their stakeholders by being personal, by being vulnerable, like you are on the shows. You're showing your humanity and telling simple stories and giving content that is easy to digest, understand around that particular focus. And then the culture is we provide opportunities through our Share Lab program and our opportunity community program to help people feel heard and cared about, give them the attention by listening to their voices. So strategy, leadership, and people, and culture, all around a focus.
I love that. If you can see right behind me, these are our words of the year. Every year we study these words, and you say focus is right there on top. Focus to me means finding opportunities by creating uninterrupted strategy sessions. Now, what does that mean? It's buzzwordy, right? Whatever. We studied that word for an entire year. And what came out of that is that we actually sit back and we take stock of what we have to do. Right now, during a meeting this week, we're wondering if our messaging was off, right? Now, most people, nose to the grindstone, they're working, and they just don't have time to think. Like, it sounds strange, but just take some time to think. And what I pulled from studying focus for a whole year was that it was so valuable to kind of pull back a little bit and don't worry about anything going on, but just think about things. So my question I posed to the team this week was, what is the bottleneck story? And I say this because I think this might resonate, and perhaps I'm thinking of a couple questions I can follow up with this right now for you on, but it was crickets. My internal team, it was crickets. And that let me know, like, wow, we don't have a story that we can just blurt off, how can we obtain the vision that we want to do, living our mission, which is to help businesses find their way, if we don't have a collective story to share with each other. And I had an idea team meeting this morning, which is just kind of a fun meeting. We just throw out ideas. And I asked the same question, crickets once again. So with what you just said, I thought that was very interesting, because had we not have planned to focus and create these uninterrupted strategy sessions where we just think and come up with ideas and strategize, we may have just kept our nose to the grindstone and hopped right over this. And I think a lot of other companies, and I would challenge anybody watching this, ask your team what your story is and see what answers you get back if you do. Have you ever done anything like that, or is that something that you help other people kind of realize?
Well, we certainly do it for ourselves, right? And our story is we grow resilient companies with shared abundance through strategy, leadership, and culture, right? And we then tell the individual stories like we did with Adorama, what we did with Feltsberg, we did with TerraCycle over the last few years. So I think in your case, and I'll be a little bit presumptuous because I see this all the time, a lot of times people are afraid to speak their truth because they don't feel it's a safe space, even in companies like yours where you do want people to speak their truth. But I
Absolutely.
think we people grow up in schools where they're told they have to memorize something, they have to remember something, whether it is or is not relevant to them. And then when they can't do it, they're shamed to say, "Oh, you failed, or you got a D, or you weren't as smart as he was, or you weren't as smart as she was." So going back to our attention, right? So we help our clients have a simple strategy with a focus, make sure the leadership is attentive and living that strategy, and then the culture supports that strategy. So in another session that you might have around what your story, you might break down, do we have a story, into a few questions. You might say, what do we want our customers to feel about us? When they do business with us, what do they want we want our customers or clients to feel? What do we want our clients to have a result? What result is the one that we really want them to have because that's the result that they came to us for? And then what do we want our clients to say about us when somebody asks us? If we can break down a very kind of complex question, what's our story, into those three questions, what do we want our clients to feel? What do we want the results to be? And what do we want our clients to say? Then the story may evolve because people are safer with maybe a bit more specific, focused question to get to that larger question. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think this is really important, because I think other people struggle with this. Uh, just like you said, people get so focused on achieving, objectives or whatever, KPIs, whatever it may be, and they kind of forget, hey, we need to have some deep thinking here. We need to think strategy. We need to think about outcomes. We need to think about that stuff. Just think. And I think we were a victim of that. And I've talked about this before. Like, I'm so happy that, we take time and stuff like this. And I kind of got lost in the shuffle there a little bit. And I just think this is really important for people. to take the time, like you said, 15% of your week, 5 hours a week, take some time and just think, right?
Exactly. So how do you operationalize that? That's really key. So one of the things we do in our leadership program is we look for 20% of a leader's time to be focused on strategic, critical, long-term thinking. And to do that, we have a whole set of tools, right? We have a meeting matrix, we have a whole program on abundant leadership and on abundant connection, where we help leaders gain that 20% a week of strategic, long-term critical thinking. How do we do that? We look at their meetings, we look at how do you streamline their meetings, how do you make sure that they have a focus on their meetings, that it's followed up properly, that the right people there. You look at how to make sure people feel connected and cared about at the beginning of the meeting, particularly when you're working in a hybrid situation, right? And then you got to constantly ask, what should we stop doing? Or what should we be doing in a way that is more efficient? Because if you want to add things to do, like new strategic projects, new innovations, new clients, you have to stop doing things, right? You don't have an unlimited amount of time. You have to maximize that time by leveraging it, right? So it's a constant looking for that 20%, looking for the ways that people can be more efficient and use their time properly so you continue to have that focus.
So I love what you're saying. People right now in my mind would be going, 5 hours a week? No, I don't have the time to do that. What say you?
You start small, right? So you're not going to get 5 hours a week in the first week. Maybe you get a half an hour extra a week. So I use two tools every single day for many decades, and the tools are meditation and three actually: meditation, journaling, and exercise. Those are the three things I must do every day. And people say, well, how do I get to meditate when I can't even get everything else done? I said, you start with a 5-minute meditation. And when you start to see your mind quieting down, in my book, Culture of Opportunity, How to Grow Your Business in Age of Disruption, I have a whole section on principles of conscious leader. And one of the sections is the quiet mind of the conscious leader. You have to have a quiet mind in order to actually be conscious and be strategic and have focus. So I meditate 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, but I didn't start out that way. I started out just 5 minutes, right? And once I did that, I think about meditation in the same way I think about brushing my teeth. I wouldn't think about going out of the house without brushing my teeth, because why? Because I'd feel my mouth is dirty, right? Same thing with your mind. I don't leave my morning into my day without meditating, because I'll go out with a dirty mind. My mind will be cluttered and it'll be filthy with all kinds of things that just don't feel right. So meditation is like brushing your teeth. It's brushing your mind and cleaning it and quieting it out. And let me tell you, Jamie, you will gain hours, days, and weeks from that quiet mind. The second thing I use is this very simple 6-minute diary. 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the evening. I start out with literally 3 minutes. What am I grateful for? What is my intention for the day? What is my goal for the day? And what is that I want to say to myself that day? And at the end of the day, I look at what actually happened that I'm proud of, what made me happy, what do I want to improve upon, and what is it that really made me feel this day was a special day. And every day is a special day. I can't tell you how many of us don't do that in the evening, and one day bleeds into the next. And 3 days later, we go, I know I did a lot in the last 3 days, but what did I do? Your brain gets overwhelmed with too much stimuli. So the meditation quiets the mind. The journaling focuses and gives you perspective on the mind. And of course, the exercise, whatever that is, whether it's yoga or dancing or biking or swimming, whatever you love, makes the body part of your whole being and allows that flow of energy to happen. So you are really in the best state, mind, body, and spirit. You're on mute, Jamie.
I do not journal. And so thank you for sharing. But but I get to play hockey, which is great. I skate for 2 hours on Friday and about an hour on Sunday. But the whole time I just think about having fun and being out there with my buddies and stuff like that. And what a release. Now, the other things that I like to do is I like to go out on the weekends and drive the tractor and have fun. Because again, it's kind of a way for me to kind of just think about something else. And it's amazing doing these strategy sessions. I kind of just do brain dump. So no matter what's on my mind, I just write it down. I don't care what it is. But all of a sudden I feel after one of those exercises, it's like I don't know what it is. I feel good. I feel creative. I feel so much better than I did before. So I definitely want to start journaling again and doing that 6-minute exercise. I think that's great. That's a great idea. And I'll actually start that today. I think that's fantastic. It's just a great way to kind of keep us energized. And you're right. My wife and I do a special edition of Live with Bottleneck every Friday, except for this Friday because she's going to be in Florida. But we usually do it every Friday, and it's called A Week in Review with Jamie and Sarah. Yeah. And we talk about everything that happened this past week, the challenges, the successes with our business and our life. And then we talk about what we're doing next week. And then we do shout outs. And it's a really good kind of like nice little period for the week, a nice little end to the sentence of the week. And it really helps us go, wow, there was a lot of stuff. And it's kind of strange when we kind of revisit what happened and kind of talk about what's happening next week. We actually come up with some good ideas during that conversation. It's just it's a neat way of doing it. Besides those 3 things that you do, what else do you do to kind of work with your team on to review and then by review plan?
We have a program which actually I'll be teaching a 3rd session of today after you and I finish, which is called Abundant Leadership, actually the essentials of abundant leadership. And one of the key principles in this program, which really plays off of what you said about the Friday reflections of the week, is Archimedes. If you remember back, the one thing I do remember about 10th grade geometry is the Greek mathematician Archimedes said, "Give me a lever and a fulcrum and a place to stand, and I can lift the earth." So what does that mean? It means the place to stand outside of your day-to-day work or your company, which is what you do on Friday. Let's stand back and say, look, what did we do this week, right? So you're standing outside your world, and then you're saying, what really worked? What were the successes or not, right? And that's where you then decide, okay, based on my reflections, next week, where are we going to put the fulcrum and the lever to focus on what we need to do next week to make sure we actually learn from the lessons that happened this week. So the essential abundant leadership is about taking a place to stand. That place to stand could be your Friday reflection. It could be your yoga practice, your meditation practice, your journaling, or just team meetings where, like you do a lot of brainstorming and stepping back from the day-to-day and say, let's talk about what is our story and what do we want people to think about us and talk about us, right? So that's the place to stand, is getting outside and also getting outside folks like our company or your company to be able to help see the things that you can't see, which is what we call are the blind spots in a business. And sometimes you need an outside perspective to actually show you where those blind spots are.
I love it. And you nailed it. It's always nice to hear it's just another set of eyeballs on something, another set of ears, that listen and kind of look in, because we only see so much. And without that outside stimuli or outside idea or just brainstorming from other people that may see things a little bit different from, like you said, their perspective. Maybe they're outside the box a little bit. I hate living in the box. I can't stand living in that box. So I'm always trying to find ways to kind of do that. And it's just exciting. It keeps things real and fun and new and energetic. So I love it. We're getting really close to the max time here, and I want to be respectful of your time. But is there anything else you would like to say before we wrap?
Sure, Jamie. One of the things that we did at the very beginning of COVID in the early April of 2020 is we understood that entrepreneurs, people like yourself, activists, educators, business leaders, professionals were going to be severely disrupted emotionally, financially, career-wise, from the pandemic. So we brought together a group of entrepreneurs, activists, educators, people from all different parts of the world and in a group we call Opportunity Community. So we meet every month for an hour. It's usually the third Thursday of every month, but it's on our website. So if you go to our website, oplab.com, you'll see a place to sign up for our newsletter, and you'll be invited to attend Opportunity Community free. I'm saying this because it's really important to meet other CEOs, other leaders, other professionals, people from a very, very different walks of life to help you really. So at the very bottom, it says 5 ways to make your strategy more strategic. In order to get that's free, just sign up for that, and you'll get invited to the Opportunity Community, which is also at the very, very top left on the far right of that top left bar. And you'll meet people from all different parts of leadership, culture, and strategy. And you'll find something really meaningful in that connection, and hopefully some great ideas that we share with you. So that's the last invitation I'd love to make to your really, really phenomenal audience. And I really want to support what you're doing, Jamie, because I think you are in the business to make the world a better place, which I so admire.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. And yes, you know, little story. I've shared the story a couple times, but I think it's really important. I literally got started in this. Full transparency, I started this business because I wanted to make money. And it took me a while to realize the true meaning. And I didn't even figure this out. It was shared with me by a client where I received a call on a Saturday morning. And I almost didn't answer it, but I really love this person. It was a good person. I said, "What the heck are you doing calling me on Saturday? You're supposed to be taking a break." He said, "Well, I just want to let you know for the first time since I started my business, I'm actually not working today because of what you guys have done." And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm spending time right now with my wife and kid, and we're going to go have dinner and watch a movie." And I said, "Congratulations." And the phone ripped away. You could hear it rustle away. And his wife said, "Jamie, thank you for giving me my husband back." Wow. What, like, that's why I'm doing it. Like, to make an impact like that, magical. And I only hope so many more people can get a similar feeling like that, because I think what we're doing, capitalism, like you said, entrepreneurship, to affect change on such a personal level through a business relationship is remarkable, in my opinion. And so I really appreciate what you do, bringing people together and giving them opportunities to literally affect the world in a positive way. It means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you for that story, Jamie. And I think there are so many people out there who really truly want to use business to make the world a better place. And now we can actually do it. We have the tools, we have the other people who can do it, we have the concepts, and younger people, particularly, Gen Z and millennials, want to work for companies with a higher purpose, want to buy for companies with a higher purpose, want to invest in those companies. So the time is now, and you can actually make profit with purpose. And that is very exciting to me. And to have partners like yourself and Sarah and your whole community makes it even more fun.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. And you just named the community that you're talking about. What's the best way for people to reach out to you if they're interested?
So you can reach out to our team at Discover at oplab.com. That's OPPLAB.com, Discover, and you'll get an immediate response within 24 hours. You just go on our website and sign up for a newsletter, or you can join the community. There's so many different ways to connect with us on our website. You can book a call with one of us to just learn more about what you do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing so much. Do you have just a second so that I can wrap up?
Absolutely.
Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Mark Monchek, I didn't disappoint. Incredible. I would highly encourage you, and you know what I'll do is I'll go ahead and post this in the chat, but in the comment section, to go to oplab.com/opportunity-community. That's the opportunity community. You can sign up there. You simply put in your name and your email, click submit, and it's a free strategy session for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals that are really committed to thriving in this age of disruption, as Mark says it. So highly encourage you to go visit that. You can go to oplab.com. I'll go ahead and put it up here to learn more. Go ahead and check out OpLab TV on YouTube. It's pretty cool. If you really want to reach out, go to discover.oplab.com. You get a response within 24 hours, as Mark says. And we've been talking today on helping businesses thrive through disruption. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. At 2 p.m. Central is when we started. At the time of this recording, it is live right now. If you're watching this as it's evergreen, then you're watching it a month or 2 or 3 months later and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely put you in touch with Mark, but you do have all his contact information here. I can't recommend chatting with Mark and his team enough. Incredible, incredible organization. And I'm just blessed to have had this conversation. Hope you enjoyed it. I will go ahead and wrap up. Again, if you want to learn how you can break through the bottleneck in your business today, go to bottleneck.online/BTV. That stands for Bottleneck Television. We have a lot of fun with that. So you get to see other conversations very similar to this. You can rewatch this conversation there. And we even did like our branded Bottleneck tennis shoes and stuff like that. Just crazy stuff there. So we have a lot of fun with that. Dave Sanderson, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are the man. Go learn more about Dave Sanderson. Go to davesandersonspeaks.com. He is incredible. So thanks for tuning in, Dave. Really appreciate that. If you haven't yet, go to quitrepeatingyourself.com. Read my book. It's How Today's Leaders Are Using Systems and Processes to Grow Their Business the Right Way. Quit Repeating Yourself, #QRY and #QuitRepeatingYourself. We've been talking today to Mark Monchek, helping businesses thrive through disruption. If you missed my conversation with Jonathan Goldhill, we had a really cool conversation, which is kind of similar. There must be a phase going on. So disrupt the market and wipe out the competition by setting priorities and staying laser focused on achieving your goals. Jonathan's been doing this a long time, so you can go check that out. Coming soon to your earbuds, Language Variation with Valerie Fridland. She's a professor of social linguistics of the University of Nevada. That's coming up Wednesday, June 1st at 2 p.m. Central. Really excited about that conversation, so we'll see you there next week. Thanks again to Mark Monchek. Again, go visit his website, oplab.com. That's OPPLAB.com to learn more. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, create your own ripple. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you again soon. And bye for now.